I am not going to bore you anymore with any more of my slides. I'll be picking on all the topics that were already mentioned, like Shashidharan sir's diet, Dr. Jacob George's strength training, Madam's sleep, all these things, because I am asked to talk about health and longevity beyond the age of 50. So I'll start from Dr. Jacob George. He mentioned that there is something called sarcopenia, which is a poverty of flesh, even from the age of 30. We light it out. This is very, thank you. So sarcopenia is poverty of flesh. It starts around the age of 30, but these are all Western standards. I think for all the patients that come to our OPs, they are so sedentary that it starts even earlier. And it's supposed to reduce by, your strength of the skeletal muscle is supposed to reduce by something like 8 to 10% every decade. And as Jacob George talked about a patient undergoing herniorrhaphy, I have nothing against the surgeons or the orthopedic surgeons. Supposing you have a lower limb fracture and you are asked to be sedentary for 2 months, supposedly you will lose 20%, you will lose your strength of your lower extremity muscle, which otherwise you will lose only in 20 years' time. Something like 8 to 15% of your strength of your lower extremity muscles you will lose if you put a patient on a long leg cast and ask the person to be sedentary. Even if they are asked to bear some weight on their feet and asked to move around inside the house, also they are going to lose a lot of their muscle strength. And as Dr. Jacob mentioned, which is the muscle that we lose first? It's our fast twitch muscles. I'll tell you another example. Supposing a person below the age of 40 falls down, what happens? Nothing happens. Usually, podi in the tea, you need to go. Supposing you are between the age of 40 and 65 and fall, are the chances of fracture more or less? It's definitely more. And the chances of which fracture is more? Most common fracture, Colles fracture. Supposing you are beyond the age of 65 and you fall again, which is the commonest fracture? Three fractures. One is hip, one is spine, and one is a head injury. Why is that so? What happens between these 2 decades? No, you fell down because you lost your balance. Anyway, you fell down. Not even sarcopenia. You have lost the reflex. Reflex you have lost. And it has been found out that beyond the age of 65, most people fall either to their side or to their back and break all these 3 or one of the above. And what happens if you have a trochanteric fracture or a spinal fracture or a head injury? Western statistics say that 30% of the people who have a fracture beyond the age of 65 do not live beyond a year. 30%. And of the rest of the 70%, half of them will never ever walk again without support in their lives. So supposing you are 70 years old, you fall down and you break a bone, then the chances are that your activities of daily living and your quality of life is compromised. So how do we prevent this? There are 2 things you can do. Is this because of osteoporosis? Is the fall because of osteoporosis? No. The fracture may be because of osteoporosis. But the fall, if you can prevent the fall, then osteoporosis is okay. So how do you prevent your falls? Only by strength training of your lower extremity. Balancing won't do. How do you strength train your lower extremity? I am sure there are no below 30-year-olds in this room right now, or maybe one or two, maybe the volunteers. But otherwise, all of us are above the age of 30. I am touching 60. So you have to give equal importance to cardio as well as strength training, especially of the lower extremity. So when I do my sessions, I always ask people, those who regularly exercise, please raise your hands, and lots of hands will go up. It was not a question, lots of hands will go up. So supposing I say those who are walking for an exercise, they can keep their hands down, then 90% of the hands will come down. So I'll ask the rest of the 10%, what are you doing? No, I go to the gym or I do some sort of weight training. So then I ask them, do you do cardio? No, I am against cardio. I always go to the gym. I lift weights. I think that is all, that is enough. So my point is, beyond the age of 50, all these things, up to the age of 50, this is another, supposing you have so many problems in life, financial problems, health problems, all sorts of problems in life, relationship problems. Supposing you have a major health issue, like a cancer or a stroke or something of that sort, some life-threatening illness, then you have only one problem in life. You're always thinking about that. So it is always better to prevent than to cure. And we as health professionals, supposedly health professionals, are all illness professionals. Always thinking right from early morning till night, till the time we go to sleep about somebody's illness. So that we tend to forget about our own health and wellness. So you have to do lower extremity strengthening and cardio. This is a must. So how do you get this done? How much should you walk? How should you walk? What sort of exercise should you be doing? I am talking about people from the age of 40 to beyond, 40 and beyond. And is it helpful if you start exercising at the age of 75? Can you build muscle? A study was done recently where they took people between the ages of 75 to 85, average age 80, and youngsters between the age of 22 to 34, average age being 24, and put them through 3 months, 12 weeks of rigorous weight training. The 20-year-olds were asked to lift as much weight as they can, and the 70 and 80-year-olds were also asked to lift as much weight as they can. The 70-year-olds lifted only maybe 5 kg or 7 kg or whatever. 20-year-olds were lifting 50 kg, 70 kg, 100 kg. But finally, the study showed that the maintenance of strength and the improvement in strength was the same in the 70 and 80-year-olds as well as the 20 and 30-year-olds. That is, the improvement in strength was the same. That shows you how important strength training is. Now let us come to cardio. I have very little time, 5 minutes over. Cardio, how do you do your cardio? Is walking slowly enough for 20 minutes. I have heard so many doctors advise their patients, 20 minutes നടക്കണം. അല്ല ഡോക്ടറെ ഞാൻ 1 മണിക്കൂർ നടക്കണം. അത്രയും നടക്കണ്ട. Because he is not doing it. So he might as well advise the patient not to do it. പിന്നെ ഞങ്ങളുടെ in Trivandrum we say for an incline we say തേരി. ഡോക്ടറെ തേരി കയറാവോ? തേരി കയറിക്കൂടാ. BP ഉള്ളതല്ലേ, തേരി കയറിക്കൂടാ. So you are always scaring the patient from exercising. Our main mantra is scaring people. Don't eat this, don't eat that, don't do this, don't do that. Everything is going to bring you harm. But at the same time, what is the sort of exercise that a 50-year-old doctor should be doing? as far as cardio goes? How much of it should you be doing? It is not the same for everyone. It is everybody cannot wear the same shirt size. Likewise, it is not the same for everyone. So let us divide exercises into three categories. One is the beginners or the deconditioned individuals. Who are the deconditioned individuals? Those who hardly ever exercise and those who cannot do exercise. There may be people who cannot go up this incline. They are only 60 years old. So for those people, we can categorize them as either the beginners or the deconditioned individuals. Then there are the intermediate sort of people who can do a little bit of exercise, who are doing a little bit of exercise regularly, but not for more than 6 months. Or there are a lot of people who have been walking for 30 minutes almost every day, even on rainy days, for 10 years. But they are not real elite exercisers. They're just doing it for passion of they have some company. Every day morning they get up very early, so they go for a walk, which is also good. So how many steps should you do every day for a person who is only walking? Let us start at the minimum. 10,000 steps. How did this 10,000 steps come? It was started by a Japanese company for the Japanese Olympic Games. They were selling a pedometer, and then somebody came up with the idea that if you put 10K, try to do 10K with our pedometer, then you are healthy. But I'll tell you a small statistic. 100 years back, like I think Jacob George sir was mentioning that people 100 years back were looking like Usain Bolt because they were doing a lot of steps, they were doing a lot of strength training also. 100 years back, it must be true because they were walking 23,000 steps a day. I was doing the same talk in General Hospital Trivandrum, which was attended only by the lady doctors. Men don't seem to find this interesting at all, at least in Trivandrum, or at least in GH Trivandrum. So I just asked them, just use a smartwatch and just put it on your wrist from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. And just tell me how much you're doing every day. So somewhere saying, sir, OP ആണെങ്കിൽ കുറവായിരിക്കും. Rounds ഒക്കെ ഉള്ള ദിവസം, it's a rather big compound, General Hospital Trivandrum. There are no multi-storied buildings. So finally, you will be shocked to see that almost all the physicians and surgeons working in General Hospital Trivandrum, there were almost 8 to 10 of them. They were all doing less than 3,000 steps a day. It's a hard fact to assimilate. Less than 3,000 steps a day, where you should be doing something like 7 to 10K every day. So what I do nowadays is, I advise people to do at least 7,000, 8,000 steps a day. 7,000, 8,000 steps a day is only 6 kilometers walk. If you do a 5-kilometer walk in the morning itself, it becomes 7,000 steps. Yesterday I went for a 10K run. By the time I came back, it was already 13,500 steps. So you aim for 10,000 steps a day, try to get in at least 7,000. Is that enough? Is that enough? What about climbing steps? How many steps should you climb every day? I would say something like 10 stories, 10 flights of stairs, not at a stretch. There are smartwatches which tell you how many flights of stairs you climbed every day. So I was wearing one of them, and on an average I climbed. I am not working in a hospital where there are multi-storied buildings. There is only 2 stories in General Hospital. Even my ward is in the first floor. But on an average, I do around 15 to 17 flights of stairs every day. So this should be your aim also. Try to do at least 7,000 to 10,000 steps every day. Go up and down flights of stairs. Do at least 10 flights of stairs. And then do as much of strength training as possible. How do you do strength training? Today morning I got into the Vande Bharat and came to here. I had a session in the morning, and right now I have a session in the afternoon also. I couldn't get in any of my workouts. Then what you should do? You'll always have very busy days. What can you do on those days? There is something called exercise snacks. Again, Shashidharan sir said, the first thing you should stop doing is stop snacking. But I would say you stop snacking on food and do exercise snacks. What is an exercise snack? You just climb 2 or 3 flights of stairs. When you get wounded up, you come back and sit down. You put a 20-minute timer on this thing. When I went to Kasaragod, one of the doctors said, sir, I am a very busy radiologist. I sit for 12 to 13 hours every day. At whose loss? His own. See, you can, after doing an ultrasound scan, you can at least just stand up, walk around. Sitting continuously for 6 hours a day is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes a day. That is one of the WHO's funny alarms. Sitting 6 hours a day continuously is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes a day. I don't think I should be wasting. Why is this clock showing 23:40? How much time do I have? How much time do I have? എന്തൊക്കെയോ കാര്യം കാണിക്കുന്നു. കുഴപ്പമില്ല, ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞ് നിർത്താം. Anyway, I was talking a bit about microbiome, so I won't be going into that aspect now regarding longevity. A little bit about sleep, even though Madam elaborated everything about sleep. We would all like to know not how many hours of sleep you need or a child needs, but how you can get that. How do you get enough sleep? What are the strategies to get enough sleep? So there is a major sleep researcher. He has got a TED Talks also. His name is Max Walker. Please go into TED Talks and watch Max Walker's talk on sleep. There are a few strategies to get good sleep. Number one is regularity. Go to sleep at the same time every day. Wake up at the same time every day. Second one is sleep in a very dark environment. Switch off all the lights. Don't put the bathroom switch on or the switch, the light beneath the cot, so that you are scared of some snake creeping into the bathroom. Don't do that. Sleep in very dark environment and very silent environment. Switch off all the devices, your electronic device, at least 1 hour before going to sleep. You try these things. I have been trying these things for the past 6 to 8 months. It really works well. You get fantastic sleep. So you switch off all your electronic devices, your tablets, your laptops, your mobile phones. You can have a conversation with somebody. You can even read a book. Don't watch the news time on TV and get worked up, because either you will be BJP or CPM or Congress. Then you will be really irritated with what is going on. So don't watch that for at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. And as soon as you wake up, don't look into your mobile phones. That has got a detrimental effect on the quality of your sleep your quality of life for the next day. And the fifth one is, when should you have your last coffee? When should you have your last coffee? At least by 5 p.m. Don't have a coffee after 5 p.m. During our college days, we used to have black coffee, very strong black coffee at 2 a.m. in the morning, and then directly went to sleep. But it's not possible now. Beyond the age of 50, it is not possible. So don't have your coffee beyond 5 p.m. If you are a tea drinker, you can have your tea. It's okay. Then, when can you take alcohol? Any form of alcohol in the evening and night is detrimental to good sleep. So if you really want to have some alcohol at least once a week, have it after lunch, because it won't affect your sleep. Then when can you have your dinner? At least 3 hours before going to sleep. So you have to plan all these things. People who are going to sleep at 12 midnight can have their last meal by 9. But so many people have their dinner early, and then just before going to sleep, they open their refrigerator and munch on something. At least have half a bar of chocolate. Chocolate is bad for your sleep at night. So don't have that chocolate bar also. One more thing regarding, because exercise is my forte, don't go in and do a badminton match in the evening or at night. So many people, for want of time, go in and play racket sports at night. Go to the well-lit indoor stadia and do racket sports. The dopamine that you release will not allow you to get good sleep. But if you are exercising in the morning, as Madam was mentioning, you can get a good sleep throughout the night. That is, I'm not saying more about sleep. So I think, I don't know how much time I took, but I would prefer to have a couple of questions from your side so that we can discuss whatever is necessary. I'm sure I did not take more than 20 minutes. That's a nice one. See, for everybody, you should start with 3 things. If it is a cardio exercise you are going to do, you should start first by deciding how many days you should do. That is frequency. Second one is duration. And third one is intensity. So let us start by a person who is completely deconditioned, or like you said, a rheumatoid arthritis patient who has multiple deformities and who is sitting down or unable to stand. It depends upon that.
He doesn't have any deformities?
Yeah. So it depends upon, supposing you are able to do 20 minutes of slow walking every day. Ask him to go for a walk for 20 minutes, 5 days a week. Supposing he gets too tired or he has pain in the joints after a couple of days of walk, ask him to take a day of rest. So first you should decide on the frequency. Then you should decide on the duration. Supposing half an hour or 45 minutes is too much for that person, you ask him to do only 10 or 20 minutes. Or ask them to do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. That is enough. Third one is intensity. And as far as intensity goes and cardiac exercises go, like our triathlete, ultra marathoner was mentioning, you should do 80% of your exercise, cardio exercise at zone 2. What is zone 2? Zone 2 is where you can have a conversation at that pace. I'm not going into the nitty gritty of the heart rate monitors. That is not necessary. Otherwise, zone 2 is something like 180 minus your age. So if you are a conditioned individual, for Jacob George sir, when he reaches zone 2, he runs below 5K per 5 minutes per kilometer. For me, it is somewhere around 8 minutes per kilometer. There's not much of a difference between the both of us. Of course, I am slightly older to him, but otherwise, it depends on how conditioned you are. So for a person, they should always start slow and lift small amount of weight also. Thank you. Strength training also, it's the same. See, you should ask them to do weights wherein they can do at least 8 to 12 repetitions. For example, just like let us take this person with rheumatoid arthritis itself. That person, you ask him to take 5 kg dumbbell curls and he finds it very difficult to do at least 5 repetitions. So you ask him to take a 2 kg dumbbell and see if he can do 8 to 12 repetitions. Then that is his weight for him for the time being. As he goes on improving, he can improve the weights also and keep it at 8 to 12. For strength, pure strength, less than 6 would be ideal. Somebody is it's not safe. See, you must have realized that I am against processed food. Any kind of powder is processed. It's unnecessary.
One more thing, sir.
And we are not aware of what these elite athletes are taking. But because I was working in sports medicine for quite some time, they're really shit scared about all this nada vada business, doping. Their whole career is gone if they are caught for doping, and there is out of season testing also. You must have heard in the newspapers that Harbhajan Singh was not to be seen for some time because they went to his home for out of season testing. Now our cricketers don't have this thing, NADA, National Anti-Doping Agency testing. So it is always better for amateurs like us, even if you are a bodybuilder also, it is always better not to take creatinine.
One more thing, sir. Sir,
yeah.
One more question. One of our IMA past president was vehemently opposing the use of whey proteins through
Sulfi, yeah, I know.
Public media. So it was mainly based on a study by Dr. Abhi Seraik Philip. Actually, he tested several proteins and found several brands to be lacking in quality. But Sulfi sir was completely against use of whey protein, whether it is a good brand or a bad brand. What is your take on that?
You want my take on it? I think we should not be discussing professional things on social media.
Just to add on a few comments. It's a very important topic because we all belong in the future because of medicine. But you have poor quality of muscles, fitness, everything. So your one question was that most of us have an orthopedic problem, including rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know about rheumatoid arthritis, but in this scenario, reducing the impact by going to something called aquarobics or water walking. So when you are up to this much in the water, the weight is taken off, and we have water dumbbells, resistance things. So you walk against the resistance of the water. It will be enough stimuli as well as strengthening as well as aerobics. So that is one thing. Second is the importance of the gluteal muscles, because it's lower limb muscles, especially the best muscle we got when we climb down from the trees in the genetics is the gluteal to walk straight. So by sitting all the day, we all get something called gluteal amnesia. So we forget about the gluteal muscles, the largest muscle. So for that, the squats, deadlifts, the lower limb, you have to have proper training towards the maximum of the. As you grow older, do more and more of strength training. That is one more thing.
One thing I would like to add is, for want of time, I did not speak about this. For deconditioned individuals, if you have people, your parents, your grandparents at home, you can ask them to just keep their hands like this and get up from their chair, a firm chair, 5 times in the morning and 5 times in the evening. If it's not possible for them, you can ask them to hold on to their knees and get up. If that is also not possible, you can ask them to hold on to their armchair rest and get up. And a few exercises which you can ask them to do, even for 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, even for those people who are not walking, even for stroke patients, what you can do is just ask them to put their weight on one foot. Hold somewhere and just put their weight on one foot and then on the other foot. After some time, you ask them to put their weight on the left foot and then slowly lift the other one. This is enough. 5 seconds is enough. You will be amazed by the amount of strength that they put on in 2 to 3 weeks' time. And then calf raises, holding on to a chair and doing calf raises. If you find it too easy, try doing 25 calf raises on one leg. Then you will find out how difficult it is, because your calf has two muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus. And the gastrocnemius is full of slow twitch muscles, muscle fibers, and the gastrocnemius is full of fast twitch muscle fibers. You get too tired doing single leg calf raises with weights. I know Indira madam is doing a lot, but otherwise for normal people like us, it is very difficult. So if you can slowly put them on slow improvement in strength, it will do wonders for them. Any more questions?
Milk at bedtime help good sleep?
In my opinion, yes, but so many people are against milk. So right now I am taking, because I am an advocate of fermented foods, I take a glass of curd at night.
Okay, I think that's all. May
Thank
I
you.